As some American friends vividly put it, decoupling from China would be shooting oneself in the foot.
The tension between the United States and China has been escalating across trade, politics, and military domains in recent years. These growing conflicts are not just straining bilateral ties, they are reshaping the global economic landscape. China's foreign ministry recently used a striking metaphor in response to U.S. policies: shooting yourself in the foot. This marks a sharp departure from the earlier phrase, lifting a rock only to drop it on one's own feet. But why has this shift in language happened? What does it signify about the evolving dynamics between these two global powers? The phrase, lifting a rock to drop it on your feet, suggested unintended consequences of U.S. actions, an emphasis on missteps that ultimately backfire. However, shooting yourself in the foot is far more deliberate, portraying U.S. policies as intentionally self-destructive, a reflection of China's growing frustration with what it sees as America's aggressive, zero-sum tactics. Consider the measures that have fueled this rhetoric: export controls on semiconductors, sanctions on Chinese tech firms, and the politicization of trade relations. These actions, initially framed as measures to ensure national security, have increasingly become tools of containment. China perceives these moves as a long-term, strategic campaign to hinder its rise, leading to more assertive responses and a shift in its diplomatic tone. But the impact extends far beyond these two nations. If decoupling continues, global supply chains will face significant disruption. Companies may be forced to reorganize production at a higher cost, particularly in critical industries like semiconductors. Meanwhile, the global trading system, already under strain, could see further fragmentation. As the U.S. pursues unilateral strategies, multilateral institutions like the WTO risk losing relevance. This could embolden other nations to adopt protectionist policies, fragmenting the world economy further. Emerging markets, too, are caught in the middle. As U.S.-China tensions deepen, nations must navigate their positions carefully, balancing economic ties with both powers. The result could be a reconfiguration of global alliances and investment patterns, with long-term consequences for economic growth. For China, this decoupling has reinforced the need for self-reliance. Investments in domestic innovation, bolstering supply chain resilience, and expanding trade with other regions have become central strategies. With its vast market and manufacturing capabilities, China is positioning itself as an indispensable global player despite U.S. efforts to isolate it. For the U.S., the risks are equally profound. Overreach in decoupling could harm American businesses, weaken its technological leadership, and alienate allies who depend on economic ties with China. At stake is not just economic stability, but America's credibility on the world stage. In this escalating contest, one thing is clear: deeper decoupling is a lose-lose scenario. While rivalry is inevitable, mutual prosperity depends on finding avenues for cooperation on trade, climate change, and global security. U.S.-China relations are at a crossroads. Will the path ahead lead to deeper division or renewed cooperation? The stakes couldn't be higher, not just for these two nations, but for the world at large.